it's the unicorn here, and today I have this super colorful, super tropical, and also super magical makeup look for you guys. So we see a blend of colors. We see pink, we see orange, we see yellow. I know, yellow, super cool. So basically it's like a tropical sunset, except it's on my eyeballs and not in the sky. So if you guys want to see how I got the sky right over here, then keep on watching. Alright, first step. I'm using that Etude House hydrating base that I use all the time, and I'm just letting that soak into the skin. I'm not using primer today, instead I'm moving straight onto concealer. This is a concealer palette from the Saem, and I'm using the shade that is closest to my skin tone to cover anything that I want gone from my face. I'm also highlighting using a paler shade in the same palette. And I'm blending everything in using a wet beauty sponge. Next, I'm going to prime my eyes using the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I'm using brighter colors today, so it's super important to lay down a primer before moving on to eyeshadow. I'm doing my brows, just extending it out and then filling in the body. I'm using this super sparkly eyeshadow palette. This is from Etude House and it just has a bunch of neutral shades in it. I'm using this super pale color, and I'm highlighting the brow bones as well as blending that a little bit onto the crease area. Next, I'm using a neutral brown shade, and I'm just blending that onto my outer corners and a little bit into the crease. This is just for extra depth. I'm using a muted hot pink color, and I'm just going to coat the brush, shake off the excess pigment, and I'm placing it where I want to concentrate the color the most. And then I'm blending it in. This is just to ensure that both eyelids have the same amount of pigment on them. I'm using an orange shade to further deepen up the eyes. I'm targeting that onto my outer corners. Now, when you want to target blend a color onto a specific area, you want to use circular motions rather than wiping motions. I'm putting the same orange on the outer half of my lower lash line. I'm going back in with the pink, and I'm placing that straight against my lower lashes. This is going to create extra depth. And I'm also blending the lower lash line into the shadow that we put on our upper eyelids. Next is this super cool yellow shade. I'm going to use my fingers. I mentioned before that when I want the pigment to BAM! Absolutely be there, in your face, I like to use my fingers because it packs on the most color. I'm also blending it out using my fingers. And I'm building the color up. When you're using pastels or yellows or just pale shades in general, you might want to do this step multiple times. And I'm blending it out using a blending brush. I'm going to go back in with the pink and place it where we did before, just because it got lost in all the yellow. I'm also going to redo the orange for the same reason. I'm using this super glittery gold shade to highlight the inner corners. This shade almost gives off a yellowish vibe, which is perfect for this whole look. I'm using a satin pale shade, and this shade is going to go right underneath the brows to highlight and define. I'm just checking in the mirror and further blending out things that I want blended out. I am just scratching right against the edges of the eyeshadow, and I'm not going in where we concentrated the pigment. Next, I'm using a Medicube Cushion Foundation, and I'm just going to blend that onto the skin using the same beauty sponge, just to even out the skin tone even more. I'm using a liquid eyeliner. I'm extending a line starting from the lower lash line up to my temples. Now this line is different for every eye shape and also different for every type of wing that you want to create, so don't stress it out too much. I'm going to create a line that stems from the previous line going towards the inner corner. And then I'm just going to connect that right to the inner corner and fill the gap in between. I'm using the same orange eyeshadow as blush, and note that I'm barely tapping into the product, shaking off the excess, and just floating it against the skin. I'm barely touching anything, and I'm really blending it out. You want to do this when you're using really pigmented blushes or using an eyeshadow as blush. Next, I'm using a liquid highlighter from the Gigi Hadid Maybelline collection, dabbing that on with my fingers. Dab, 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 dab. And then I'm blending everything further out and merging it into one layer using the wet beauty sponge. Now it's time for lips. I was really torn between these two colors, and I came to the conclusion that I'm just going to mix the two colors. We ended up with a really pretty lip color that ties everything in. I'm perfecting the lip shape using a lip pencil, and we're pretty much done. But wait, we're missing something. And this is the final look. I don't know about you guys, but I am in love. I think it's the perfect summer glam look, perfect for any occasion. Whether you're on vacation or whether you're just going out with friends. It's super fun and super glam. So I hope you guys like this look as much as I am in love with it. And I will see you in the next video. Adios!